Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Laura. I am a founder of CEO of Loremex, where we help traditional technology companies transition to AI-centric business models. So today in this video, I want to cover what are the key trends we saw in the technology sector in 2025 and how companies can position themselves successfully compete in 2026. So let's dive in. Trend number one that we saw in 2025 was that AI native companies grew their revenues 5 times faster than traditional software companies. And there are two reasons why they were able to grow that much faster. One is the user experience. So the feedback that customers were giving is that AI native user experience way more kind of intuitive and effortless. Number two, those companies are able to adapt to the changing customer needs much faster than traditional software companies. And as a result, they were able to capture market share. So if you're a traditional software company, what is there for you to do in 2026? Well, first thing you need to stop doing, and that is stop adding on agentic capabilities or some sort of AI native capabilities as a bolt-on onto your solution. So that's job number one. Here's the thing, you're not going to be able to successfully compete fast with these AI native companies if you're going to continuously kind of dilute your resources and trying to kind of retrofit this new capability on the top of your existing infrastructure. So the notion of this innovator dilemma, right, that the book that came out about 50 years ago, it's very much true in this scenario, which is that you need to set up a separate unit, which is what you should do in 2026. And that is have what I call like a second product strategy, a separate engineering team, separate product team, separate sales teams, separate finance kind of pricing team, different infrastructure team to really just focus on enabling a truly AI native solution, and then leverage your kind of trust that you already have with your customers to kind of go and capture the market share of your existing customer base with that AI native solution. Essentially what I'm trying to say, in 2026, to compete effectively, you need to go and recapture your existing customer base, and you need to do that with a completely 100% AI native solution and not a bolt-on solution. All right, trend number two in 2025 that we saw is what I call agent disillusionment. So initially when we started the year, there was a lot of discussion that 2025 is going to be the year of agents. And after all this experimentation, the data shows that there's only 11% of enterprises that leveraging some sort of agentic capabilities in their environments. And if we double click on that 11%, majority of those use cases are agent coding use cases, which is a legitimate use case. And it's great, it's a step in the right direction. But we did not have a year of 2025 of agents. It's agents simply did not have the capabilities yet to fully kind of navigate the complexity of the enterprise. As a matter of fact, there was a study that came out showing how AI agents are navigating and performing in the production environments. And we saw that they're able to complete up to 10 steps. And beyond that, they get confused and they get kind of spinning wheels, if you may. So what is kind of the trend going to be in 2026 and what you should do as a tech company? So I would frame 2026 as the year of AI plumbing, okay? I know it is not a sexy thing to focus on. I think it's especially difficult for executives to go to the boards and talk about some agent plumbing situation. But the reality is, unless you get that AI plumbing correctly for the agents, you're not going to be able to kind of successfully compete, come 2026 and beyond. All right, so what is the plumbing, agentic plumbing? So number one that your agent needs to have is a brain. So the brain is the LLM or SLMs, the small language model. So here, really what you want is obviously your brain to function have strong cognitive abilities, have strong reasoning abilities, and obviously zero hallucination, and make sure it does and it says what your customers are expecting that it's to do. So the number one kind of capability should be on eval framework, people, and process. So do your teams actually have LLM or SLM evaluation frameworks set up? And so that should be kind of making sure that gets sorted out as a step one, to make sure you have solid brain before it gets exposed into a wild out there. All right, what is the second thing that your agents need to do to have as part of their plumbing is the hands. So how are they gonna go out there and reach to different knowledge stores and interact with different tools? And for that, they need to have, obviously, the API framework, API infrastructure becomes very important. And currently right now we have, on top of APIs, a lot of companies are experimenting with MCP server. The challenge with the hands is that this infrastructure is not ideal and not mature just yet. So APIs are very expensive to run for agents. And they actually have to be retrofitted where they're more focused on the outcomes, not just calling it the endpoint. So, and MCP servers are not a proven kind of framework method either. So what do you do here in this scenario? So really you just have your teams to experiment with it as much as possible, see if there's a way to retrofit your API endpoints. Obviously try to experiment with MCP server and just monitor, okay, is the kind of availability there? Are they actually, how often they're failing to access the tools, or how easy to set up, let's say, MCP servers to get to this time to value? So the traditional metrics you would measure any infrastructure component. All right, so once you kind of got the hands, then you have the memory. So the memory is really the context and the storage. And in this case, for AI agents, having context to engage with your end users in a meaningful way is super important. So there's a lot of works with vector databases where you kind of store your embeddings has become kind of the norm now. And the new exciting thing is context graphs, and I would encourage everybody, if you haven't read it yet, there's a paper by Foundation Capital where they laid out their vision how context graphs are the next $1 trillion opportunity. And so I think yet again in this space it's maturing, but it's really kind of a lot of moving parts and not quite there. So yet again, have teams experiment. Failure is totally okay. Just make sure you have the metrics that you measure whether you're moving towards your end goal or not. So 2026, okay, let's not have any agent washing. Let's just focus on agent plumbing. If we get the agent plumbing correctly, then we can kind of realize the full potential of these agentic capabilities and hopefully have them enabled kind of in these end-to-end workflows in your enterprise. Okay, so what the trend number 3, which was actually the most concerning trend in 2025, and that was investment imbalance. We saw 97% of budget spend went to technology, and 93%, and only 7% went to people. Okay, so there's clearly imbalance between how much companies are spending on technology versus its human capital. Well, it goes without saying, you cannot win AI race without people. I always joke, if you see and hear about AI slop, that means the company has people problem or a culture problem, because without humans, the AI will remain to be a slop. And the capabilities are not there to kind of fully take over. Just like I talked about above, the plumbing, until we get that right and many other components, we will need humans. And now for a long foreseeable time, I would say. So how do you think about it? The number one question really executives have on their mind, how do I go about kind of adjusting my workforce to this new era of AI? And typically the kind of answer falls into this category of like, well, just go and, make sure you focus on the tooling, like the skilling and the tooling is the same, this kind of used in the same context. But I would argue that tooling is kind of an easy part. And even directing agents, what you want them to do is an easy part. I love the framework that was coined by a venture capitalist and Keith Rabois. And so he categorizes employees in two categories. One is employees that are barrels, and another category, employees that are ammunition. And in his framework, ammunition are the people who are good people, they do a good job, but they need a lot of direction. So you constantly need to provide them with the direction, what is the next thing that you want them to do and how to do things. Barrel, on the other hand, are the people that are actually able to come up with the new concept, with the new ideas. They are able to create momentum and rally the people behind the idea and go execute on those ideas in a way that drives outcomes for your business. So as you think about your, kind of future workforce that is well adapted to the AI era, is really you want to make sure that you have as many barrels in your organization. And the way you do that is obviously nurture the ones that are there today. And then the ammunition, right? So the folks who fall in that category, are there any potentials to bring them up to be those barrels too? And really, these are nothing to do with technical skill sets. These are all soft skill sets. How do you think critically? How do you question, kind of status quo? How do you kind of convince people to do something for you and create an excitement? So all of those things that are really not technology related, but those are the people you wanna in your corner in this AI era, because more and more, kind of ammunition category type of work will be replaced by AI. So the more barrels you have in an organization, the more successful you're gonna be, and hopefully go capture some market share. So those are key 3 trends. And just kind of summarize for 2026, right? Where do you focus? No bolt-on solutions. Go create separate teams for your AI native software solutions and go capture market share. Number 2, make sure you focus on AI agentic plumbing. Not sexy, but absolutely necessary for 2026. And number 3, we gotta find balance in our investments. Invest in your people. Go look for those barrels, grow them, nurture them, and make sure you transition as many people into that category as possible. So that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe, like, and you can follow me on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Until next time.